Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're watching The Bad Batch. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are watching episode 12 of season 2 of The Bad Batch. Just a little note at the beginning. This has been spoiled for me that it is a Crosshair episode, mostly because of the thumbnails of all the other reactors that have had reactions go up, but that's fine. I have been eagerly anticipating any information about Crosshair because he's probably had the coolest episode yet of the season that was very focused on him, but it showed why he's so good at what he does is because he's the one. And we also saw an assassin later on that in the episode with Rex, and I kept saying yeah, he's good but he's no Crosshair. And it's true. Crosshair is, he has a particular set of skills and he's very good at them. The one thing is that he's very loyal to the Empire, and I would really like to see him really see the Empire for what it is. I don't know if that's in his way of thinking or if that's something that we could ever expect from Crosshair, but I would hope so. It seemed like he was having a hard time with that episode, really not that he was having a hard time following the rules or doing what he was told, but you could see that he was holding back, and he was letting Cody take the lead, so to speak, until Cody was threatened by the governor. So there is a little bit of a hesitancy, I think, that's in Crosshair, and especially after he learns that Cody has been taken care of because he didn't do what he was told. I think he sees that he's kind of disposable to the Empire, or at least he's starting to. I would love to see a full on rejection of the Empire. I don't know if we'll necessarily get that from Crosshair. Maybe even by the end of the season we may, but I don't know what this episode holds, and I'm really excited to get into it, especially after the last couple episodes really concentrating on the clones, each individually, and then the last one in particular bringing back the Zillow Beast, but a cooler version of the Zillow Beast. But also the fact that the Empire is using him to help with armor, and kind of taking that. I see a cat shadow moving. Yeah, we hear you. We see you. We have a guest for today. She may make an appearance, she may not, but you may just see her tail and her shadow moving along. Anyway, the fact that the Empire wants to use the cloning technology in order to utilize, the genetics of the Zillow Beast, that's terrifying and scary. But and I'm trying to think of in the future where we see that, because I don't remember any ships being indestructible or any clone armor or trooper armor. Obviously, they don't use the clones anymore. But I don't know if we actually see that. Maybe. Ooh, what are the droids that were in the Mandalorian season 2 finale? Maybe the Dark Troopers? Maybe that's what they utilized that for, because they seem pretty indestructible. Interesting. I'd really like to know, if they actually succeeded in using the Zillow Beast genetics. I'd be really curious. But I'm not going to delay any further. I'm really excited to get in this episode because Crosshair. It's honestly just freaking weird how he went from the one I cared the least about to the one I am so curious about. I'm he's the one that can have the most dramatic arc overall, and I love that for him. I love that for us. So that being said, let's get into it. The Outpost. I don't know why I said that like I was Canadian. The Outpost. Great music already. This show is just stunning in every way. People are missing out on so much by not watching it. What's up, buddy? You don't look like you're sleeping, my friend.
Forced retirement. We're soldiers. What are we supposed to do now?
Please direct all your questions and concerns to the Imperial Information.
Yeah, they don't care.
I'm Lieutenant Nolan, your commanding officer for this mission. We're heading to the Imperial Depot on Barton 4. High-value cargo stored there has been targeted by local insurgents. We're to secure it until it's transferred at week's end.
No kidding.
Fantastic. More clones.
Oh, say it with more disgust, buddy.
I don't like used equipment.
Oh. Wow. I was gonna say I want him to die a horrible death. I hope he gets saved by a clone and then he realizes how important they are. His little fluffy collar gave away that it was gonna be cold. He's so precious. None of the clone troopers have that on. Watch them all have it on when they get out. Nope. Because they're not precious. You're so incompetent. I'm loving the music in these episodes. What's in there?
You must be our reinforcements. We expected you 36 rotations ago.
Nice beard.
We work on the Empire's schedule, Trooper, not yours. Your orders were to guard and protect this facility and its cargo. Where are the rest of your men?
Dead.
Yeah. From probably guarding the outpost.
We're all that's left.
Your failings will be dealt with later. For now, I am in charge here until the cargo is transported.
I hate this guy.
I feel safer already.
You speak to me with respect.
No.
In my experience, respect is something to be earned. Tell me, Lieutenant, how many missions have you commanded?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Boys, why don't you help the new boss get situated?
I love this guy. We didn't get his name yet, though, did we? Got Hex and Beach.
What'd you do to get stuck with this mission?
Just lucky, I guess.
Yeah. The name's Mayday.
Mayday. I like it.
Crosshair.
Welcome to the Outpost.
Why was there such a delay in telling him his name?
Who's been attacking the depot?
Locals, raiders. Last few attacks caught us off guard.
How did they bypass the sensors?
Conditions have degraded our equipment. I requested replacements, but got none.
Yeah.
And we're told to protect the cargo at all costs.
Why? What's inside those crates?
I want to know.
Yeah, I wonder that myself. Every day.
You never checked?
You don't know.
Apparently it's above a clone trooper's pay grade.
Fair enough, I guess, but...
You'll freeze to death in that armor. Unless what's in the ice kills you first.
Yikes. Ice Vulture.
It'll make them happy.
Oh boy.
Spotted inside the perimeter! I'll cover the west. You take the east. We'll cut him off.
Oh, Crosshair gonna take care of it. Unless there's food in those crates, then that's not okay. If people just need to survive, that's a different story completely.
Down. Three raiders are heading towards the shuttle at 015.
Oh, you need your eyes. He needs his eyes. His eyes are like so important. Oh, it wasn't a kill shot. It would have been if he had his eyesight perfect. Crosshair, you're gonna freeze to death. Really? I don't know if it's stupid or if it's brave. They were the last ones.
What are you doing just standing around?
Someone slap this man.
We don't have the manpower or gear for a mission beyond the perimeter. Especially just to recover a few
It's
crates.
not up to you to determine what is of value to the Empire. recover the cargo. Is that clear?
Yes, Lieutenant.
See, the Empire doesn't care about you, Crosshair. They don't give you the men that you need. They don't tell you when you're going to get the food that you need. Like, they were waiting, what, 36 rotations? Like, I feel like that's a really long time. I wish I knew how long a rotation was.
Not sure what bothers me more. These wearing armor stolen off my men, or that his cohorts just left him here.
No point in carrying dead weight.
Remind me not to die on your watch.
For real. I like Mayday.
Pressure mine.
Shit.
What were you saying about dead weight?
Oh.
Do you know how to disarm it?
I'm not an explosives expert, but since I don't feel like
Carrying your body back to the outpost, I guess I'll give it a shot. I wish I had the proper equipment for this. But the Empire's ignored all my requests. I've learned to improvise, though. What unit were you with?
Doesn't matter.
Humor me.
Clone Force 99.
What happened to them?
They're gone.
And here we are, the survivors. That should do it.
Crosshair loses a foot, no big deal, but if he loses his eyes, that's no good.
I'll wait around the bend. If I don't hear a boom, then I'll know it worked.
That you're confident in your work.
Oh, I'm confident. I'm just not stupid.
I like Mayday. I like him a lot.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Whew. Okay. Okay. I was just like thinking, like, what if those pegs like didn't go down far enough? Like, what if it was like, think?
Multiple contacts inside. 2 guards at the entrance.
Shouldn't be a problem for us.
I like how Crosshair's answers are always like, mm-hmm. This music. How come Crosshair gets all the cool music? Oh, cool grenade. I love those things. Whoa, dark. Good job, Crosshair. Damn. It's definitely a guy you want on your 6. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Boom. Oh, yeah. Avalanches.
Let's load the cargo and get out of here.
Hopefully one like broke open, they could see what's in the inside. Stormtrooper gear.
Gear? We've been risking our lives to recover equipment we could have been wearing this whole time.
It's not clone trooper gear.
I meant that as a joke.
New toys for the shiny new military, and we get the scraps. After all the clowns have done, all we've sacrificed, we're good soldiers. We followed orders. And for what?
Wake up, Crosshair. That's what I'd be afraid of. No! Yeah, you're gonna, like, get some serious, like, I can't even think of what it's called right now. Freezer burn? Is he gonna leave him behind, or is he gonna take him back? Frostbite. That's the word I was searching for. Freezer burn.
Mayday, wake up. Come on. We have to move.
Go. I won't make it.
Some reason Crosshair's evolution is way more emotionally impactful than some of the other stuff that's happened with the other clones. So proud of him. Oh my gosh, I'm getting cold watching this. Still up in the sky, that's where you want them. I wouldn't be shocked if he left them there.
About time you two returned.
I hate him. I hate him.
He needs a medic.
I see you didn't retrieve the crates, which means you failed your mission.
Did you hear what I said? Help him.
Certainly not. That would be a waste of the Empire's resources.
He'll die.
He served his purpose as a soldier of the Empire.
You could have saved him.
Let that rage out. Let that rage out.
He is expendable, as are you. And if you speak to me again with such disrespect, I'll see to it you meet a similar fate, clone. Now, leave him and get back to work. While you're still useful.
I just want to see Crosshair go full on rage. Look at that shot.
Lieutenant.
Oh God. Getting lower. Don't end. Don't end. Don't end. It's gonna end. We didn't. Oh, thank God. What are they gonna do to him?
Once you've healed, the doctor will come for you.
That's a threat.
Cooperate, and you might survive.
Expendable. God, the music in these episodes is just awesome. Okay, definitely. I wanted Crosshair to have his moment where he could express how he was feeling about what was happening to the clone troopers. Killing the lieutenant, you know, I think that like he's kind of reaching his limit. And it's funny that Mayday was talking about respect and earning respect. And I think that I think Mayday definitely earned Crosshair's respect and how he stood up for the troopers and how he felt about the Empire and was kind of finally seeing what's happening a little more clearly from, you know, the clone troopers kind of saying like, we were, you know, made for war and, you know, now we're just being thrown away. And that was kind of like what we were leading to, was how disposable the clone troopers are after, they did such a big service for the Empire and for the Republic. It's It's so funny that a character arc like Crosshair, it means, I'm not saying it means more in the sense of like the other ones don't mean anything, but his means so much more because he was such a devotee to the Empire and the mission and being a good soldier and doing what he was told, and he thought that that would earn him something, and all it's doing is being met with disrespect and being thrown away as though you're nothing. And I was joking when I said those crates probably had stormtrooper gear in it, and at first I was like, oh, it's probably food, and they're keeping food from the locals, or they're keeping food from the troopers that are at the outpost. It was a joke until it wasn't a joke, and it was very real. Uh, it's amazing, and I know I say this a lot, that like as somebody who grew up with the original trilogy and then wasn't quite a huge fan of the prequels, it wasn't that I wasn't even a big fan. I have Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi tattooed on my back, so like it had a profound effect on me, but they weren't my favorites until I watched Clone Wars. And then now when I watch Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, like it's so hard for me to watch Order 66. It's incredibly hard for me. And I know a lot of people don't watch the animated series, so they'll watch Obi-Wan Kenobi, or even now with like The Mandalorian, and with Grogu kind of having the memory of Order 66 and just what that whole thing meant, like all those clone troopers that you trusted and you grew to love and care for, and that they were controlled so easily, and now they're being thrown away so easily. When Obi-Wan goes and visits that city and there's the homeless clone trooper that's on the ground, I mean, I'm sure that reminded him of Cody, and for sure it was heartbreaking to see, because that's just like veterans in the United States. I know I always talk about it, but like I see like how veterans were treated, and that they were exposed to Agent Orange and asbestos, and how they have all these health issues, and how it manifests in their mouth, because I work in dentistry, so I see it every day of like how all of that, like whether it is having heart disease or it's tooth loss, they didn't care. They're like, here's a pill to control your heart disease. But they're like, do you want to eat regularly? Who cares about that? And now I think with the VA CARES program that like we work under, we're seeing a lot more full mouth rehabs. It's still very difficult to get things passed through, so that they can just eat, just go back to reasonable chewing. It, it's I definitely see how veterans have been treated in that aspect, up close and very much in my face. And then the people that you see, homeless veterans every day, or veterans that take their own lives because they can't handle the things that they've witnessed or that they've seen, or the memories that they have, because they weren't given proper psychological care. And that's happening to our clone troopers, and you see Crosshair just cracking. Like he's finally just kind of realizing that like the way he should be treated and the way he is being treated, that there's absolutely no resemblance of the two. And they should be, treated with a lot more respect. Oh God, it's so hard to watch. It's so hard to watch. And it's wild how he does not want to get close to people. And I was just kind of like, why did it take him so long to tell Mayday his name? And it's because like that's more information than like maybe it's kind of like dating, right? Like you get an emotional bond with somebody the more you learn about them. And I think that for him that was kind of like a way to keep the wall up, like this is my number, and instead, he paused and he waited and he, said Crosshair. And I think that's a way for him to not get emotionally bonded to anybody, because then he couldn't be hurt by something if something happened. And you can see he didn't want to leave him behind. And the fact that Mayday said like, wow, remind me not to go into battle with you. And I don't think that that's like Crosshair anyways. I think that that's Crosshair's way of dealing with that situation mentally. I think that definitely for him to leave somebody behind would be really hard. We saw it with Clone Force 99, and that's probably why, is because he had that emotional bond with Clone Force 99, and then here we are. It's brilliant to see like Crosshair have these emotional moments, because they're not overly emotional and they're not like outrageous, and he's not, I was like, I'm here for a full-on Crosshair rage moment. And like, even what he did was just way beyond the character that we've seen, and I think that like it's a step in the right direction. I don't want to say killing somebody is a step in the right direction, because I know that the long-term effect of that, just that moment, you know, is going to probably break Crosshair. But then when we see him and then she says, "You're waiting for the doctor." I don't know if Emery is a character that we've seen before. I don't think so, but I feel like we're going to see more of her soon. She had a moment where she was kind of staring at Crosshair, and I don't know if that was an empathetic moment or if it was a "you're pathetic" kind of moment. TBD. I am worried about the doctor. I am worried about what could happen to Crosshair, and I didn't know, because we're seeing scans, and I was like, is the chip still in his head? Because we can't see the scar from the chip removal procedure because of the burn that he got from the engine back in season 1. So it's just like I'm pins and needles waiting to know if that's still in there or not. I feel like the answer we're probably going to get is that no, it's not in there, and that this was the Crosshair. But that would actually make the arc even that much stronger, because it was him making a choice and how that choice affected everything and his way of thinking, and then how it changed. And I think that it's brilliant. You know, I keep praising Dave Filoni and all the works that he does. And I know that, like, you know, he didn't write this, but like he's definitely involved in the writer's room and the storyboards and where the story's heading. And like he's definitely at the forefront of a lot of that. So for me, like, I just like say like these episodes and these character arcs that we're getting, and the changing of the character, like even when we see Echo, who's willing to leave his group to go fight for a bigger cause, like that's beautiful. You know, Tech realizing that there is something that's in there that's emotional. It just, he shows it differently, and explaining that to Omega, who very much shows her emotions, like she wears her heart on her sleeve. I think Wrecker had his big thing last season, but it would be really interesting to see Wrecker kind of go through a little bit more of a change. But I feel like he's very like open. Like he's just like he is who he is, and he says the things that he wants to say, and that's how he is. And so like he'll continue to be that way, unless something happens to close them off, and I hope that doesn't happen. Now, I was so intent on the last couple episodes of getting back to Sid because I want to know what's up with her. Now I'm kind of like, you know what? It's not the most important thing in my mind now. It's this Empire story, which I feel like they might converge if she turns in Clone Force 99. I will never forgive her for that if that's the case. I guess it depends on the situation. Like if she's held at gunpoint, like I get it. Like, but you know, if someone's willing to die to keep a secret, I think that that's amazing. But I also understand that that might not be Sid. And I hate that I'm questioning her character, because she's always been a hard ass, but like she's never been like a threatening person. Like, I mean, she does, but like I don't know what her follow through would actually be, because we've never seen her actually follow through with anything. And we've helped her, so I would hope that there'd be a loyalty to our boys and Omega. So if we catch up on that, great. But now it's not at the forefront of my mind of like the most important storyline at all. And the fact that now we're seeing stormtroopers. It's happening. It's happening. That whole convergence into that world is coming to a head. It's sad, and I don't want to see the end of the clone troopers, but like we know it's coming, and the end of like the main focus and them being in the big picture. I would love to see, you know, stories of them living their lives and being fruitful and multiplying, you know, like them actually having families. And I don't know if they can have families. I don't know if they stopped that or what. I don't know if that's a thing. I would like to think that like clone troopers can have families. I don't think those were Cut's children. Although if it was, that'd be great. But either way, I would love to see them having amazing lives. Now, of course, we've seen Rebels, so we know how Rex and Wolf and Gregor were living. So I don't know if that's a thing or not, or if that was a choice that they consciously made to be that way. But if you want to see the full-length reaction to this episode, it will be available on my Patreon, as well as full-length reactions to all the previous episodes. You will need your own copy. I'm sorry if I don't say that enough. I can't show the show for you. You have to have your own copy for a watch-along. But I also have the full-length reactions for The Mandalorian. Very juicy there. Mythosaur. Like that was super exciting. We got the Purgles and we got a Mythosaur. What else are we gonna see? So I'm loving that so far. It's much lighter. It's funny that the animated series is actually heavier than The Mandalorian. I think it might travel in the way of heaviness, but right now it's starting out light and airy, and this one's getting darker and darker. The musical tone in this episode was just fantastic. The circling of the ice vulture was definitely dark. It getting lower and the shadow getting closer and surrounding Crosshair was very dramatic, and I love that. I'm definitely digging this so much. It's so sad that more people don't watch it, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Do you think Crosshair? I don't even know. Like with him being with the Doctor, I don't know what his future holds, but like. Do you think Crosshair's finally cracking? He's finally seeing what Clone Force 99 was against. Like, do we think he's going to rejoin our group and be fighting that fight, or is the Doctor going to do something dark and twisted to him and keep him from being the Crosshair we want him to be? I don't know. Maybe he becomes something bigger and better, but we definitely would not like that because it'd be for the Empire. Okay, guys, super excited. I'm very happy that like I'm still able to watch these. I really need to stay off YouTube so I don't see thumbnails, but all I knew is that it was Crosshair, so I mean that wasn't too bad. But guys, I'll see you here next week. All right. Bye.